Leon, it's been 6 hours since our last transmission. I was starting to get worried.
Don't you mean lonely? Did you know Resident Evil 4 was originally a Super Nintendo game released in 1995? Me neither. That's because it wasn't. What you're looking at now is my best attempt at recreating Resident Evil 4 as a 2D game in just 7 days. By the way, it would mean the world to me if you'd consider liking, subscribing for more 2D remakes, and even sharing this video on Facebook, Twitter, or Reddit if you found it interesting. You guys asked for it.
Resident Evil 4. I've recently bought it and I'm really enjoying it, except for its controls. I'd love to see you remake it.
But honestly, I've been wanting to remake Resident Evil 4 for a while now. My favorite game has always been a tie between The Wind Waker and Resident Evil 4. Looking at Resident Evil 4 from a different perspective is maybe how the team at Capcom Production Studio 4 felt when they were creating Resident Evil.
I think the series had been recycling the same patterns, the same gameplay each time. The creators were starting to get bored with it, and many moved to other projects. So I spoke to Mikami-san, the director, and we talked about reshaping the series and winning back the fans, as well as winning over new fans who thought they would never play a Resident Evil game.
Resident Evil 4 is a bit of a deviation from the previous games. Alright, so I started with Leon Kennedy.
No thanks, bro.
And I stole an image from Google and also a T-pose from my previous Cyberpunk 2D remake, and I had Leon created in 2D in about 1 hour. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop Leon from looking kind of like a Karen, and I think that's because Leon kind of looks like a Karen. But after animating him using the Unity 2D animation tools and tracing over the shotgun, he ended up looking pretty awesome in 2D, so I moved on to the level art. Alright, so this is where the fun begins. I spent the majority of my time on this project illustrating the village level in Photoshop. I started with a 3840 by 2160 canvas, which is 4K, and I took the exact colors from the screenshots from the village level, and I actually just used a few of my custom brushes, my tree leaves brushes, my grass brushes, and just made my way towards the camera, filling in the appropriate colors, getting more and more saturated in detail as the shapes came closer to the camera. If you take a look at the coloring of a screenshot of the game and also my remake, what we basically have is a gradient from light brown to dark brown. The human eye is attracted to this gradient because it's pretty much how every horizon works. Not everyone is brown, but there's a gradient from light to dark. And that's because things get darker and more saturated as they come towards your eye. In the last 15 years of 2D illustration, I've rarely accomplished a decent looking dead tree. I don't know why, but dead trees are really difficult for me. So I just hopped on over to Noun Project and looked for a dead tree and placed that throughout the scene. Recreating the creepy houses and barns was easier than I expected. Watch this. To create a 2D house, simply draw a rectangle, a triangle, add gradients to various overhangs and slats, then pop on 2 rectangles, add a glow effect, and then add some cuts. Then just throw a rectangle door in and boom, a 2D house. This little time lapse actually just took me 3 minutes to create. Understanding how shapes and lights work, I think, is way more powerful than raw talent, at least that's my opinion. Next up was interiors. Unlike the original Resident Evil, moving from exterior to interior is often seamless in Resident Evil 4. To accomplish this, I simply activated a black overlay, an interior background, but only if the player enters the trigger zone of the interior. Then I play a fade effect on the camera. Nothing actually fades here, that would actually cause a lot of transparent sprites to overlap. So instead, I just did a quick flash effect of a black box, and it looked like the screen was fading. Resident Evil 4 actually doesn't have any zombies.
The enemies aren't really zombies, and actually at first glance, they look like humans.
Well, the current version doesn't. Believe it or not, Resident Evil 4 had 4 different versions during production. The fog version, the Hookman version, the hallucination version, and the final version, which included a more freeform camera and crazy cultists, not zombies. Creating the cultists was the hardest part of this project. Illustration was fairly easy, I just drew over Leon. Animating them was the problem. First, I had to create various skins for one skeleton structure. To do this, I placed each layer into various groups in a Photoshop big file that's a PSB, which Unity recognized as multiple skins for each bone. Then I created prefab variants, each containing the correct sprite set. Then I animated. Animating a walk cycle is one thing, perhaps you know how difficult this is, but animating a zombie walk is even harder. The trick is to get up out of your chair and walk around the room like a zombie. Study which parts of your body move and when. In my case, I found that a zombie walks with each side of his body. So for example, the right arm moves with the right leg, as opposed to a normal walk, which is actually alternating arms and legs. And he's also going to be leaning forward. Then to add weight to the limbs and the axe, I assured that everything dragged a little bit, essentially just adding a delay to make it look like it's springy and heavy. To finish off the enemies, I channeled my inner cultist and recorded the voices in Audacity. Finally, I finished up the game by creating the most notorious dialogue sequence of all time. At least, it is to me. I wanted to have some fun here, so I hired a really talented voice actor. What are you buying? What are you selling? Not enough cash, stranger. Ah, I'll buy it at a high price. Ultimately, I really enjoyed working on this project. Obviously, this tiny little demo is just a seed of what Resident Evil 4 is, which is ultimately considered one of the greatest games of all time. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please leave a like if you felt like I did a good job, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Let me know below another game that you'd like to see recreated, and as always, feel free to download my free 2D game kit below, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers. Hey, is this Amazon customer service? Yes, this is me, Thomas. No, I just want to return this Leon jacket. No, I mean, it fits great. It feels great. Well, when I opened it up, there was blood on it. Oh, it's just cultist blood? To make it look original? It's real blood, huh? Wow. Okay, bye. Bye.